Hello, you're watching Access, and this is the essential rundown of the 21 PS4 games you must play in 2016. Hot off the back of one of the biggest years in gaming ever, hands up who managed to finish The Witcher 3, Bloodborne, Metal Gear Solid 5 and Fallout 4. Didn't think so. 2016 looks set to light up PS4 with action-adventure fireworks, some upside-down kicking, and a near-infinite journey to the centre of the universe. So let's get stuck in. There isn't much we can say about No Man's Sky that hasn't been said already, so what we'll do is just say everything again, because even though we've heard this approximately 29 times, it's still unbelievable. Simply put, this is a game about journeying to the centre of the galaxy, a galaxy made up of actual billions of stars, many of which have multiple planets in orbit, all of which you can land on, explore, shoot at, or if you like, completely ignore. The beauty of No Man's Sky is you can play it however you like, a procedurally generated cosmos stretching to near infinity all around you, the potential for discovery practically limitless. Visually inspired by the vibrant optimism of 70s sci-fi fiction and scored by the excellent 65 Days of Static, No Man's Sky also looks and sounds amazing, the pixel daydream of anyone who's read Isaac Asimov or Arthur C. Clarke brought to stunning digital life. And if you don't care about that, well, there are guns and dinosaurs, and it's coming to PS4 in June.
I know what you're thinking. A bald, socially awkward man with questionable morals? Rob? No, silly. It's everyone's favourite contract killer, Agent 47. The only suits Rob has are lawsuits. We are of course talking about Hitman arriving on PS4 for the first time this year and bringing with it the biggest and most detailed environments of the series. With up to 300 NPCs in each sandbox, Contracts mode has been revolutionised, and taking the time to plan your infiltration is going to make all the difference. Expect a host of exotic locations from around the world, some exciting new additions to 47's dressing up box, and more improvised weaponry than you can shake an adjustable wrench at.
If Gravity in 2001 taught us anything, it's that things going wrong in space is very bad, primarily because there's no ground to sit down and cry on like there is on Earth, and also no oxygen. Plus, if you press the wrong button, you can be ejected into space, helplessly clawing against the darkness as you're pulled into the abyss. So of course we're very excited about Adrift, the disaster in orbit puzzler that promises all this existential terror and more. More like sublime consciousness-altering views of Earth from the hush of space, problem-solving in a beautiful ruined shipwreck, and gradually uncovering the mystery of why you're spinning around the Earth facing imminent death and trying not to think about all the endless blackness all around you. We can't wait!
If, like me, you've poured hundreds of hours of your life into Persona 4 Golden on PS Vita, then the arrival of a full-blown PS4 sequel in 2016 will increase your excitement stat by at least 6. Persona 5 is set in Tokyo and puts you in the shoes of a high schooler caught up in a fantastical story of magic, heists, and a shape-shifting cat thing. If you're new to the series, don't let the strangeness put you off. The Persona series is renowned for its likeable, complex characters, engaging storylines, and most of all for the awesome turn-based combat where you summon physical manifestations of your own psyche, personas, and clobber weird Jungian psychology-inspired monstrosities with them. Just trust me, it's brilliant, okay?
Yes, it's back, it's happening, and it still looks really sad. For a while it seemed that Team Ico's follow-up to beautiful PS2 classics Ico and Shadow of the Colossus had flown quietly into the night, but now the game is confirmed, scheduled, and coming in 2016. The Last Guardian is still about a boy lost in a dangerous, ruined castle who befriends a giant cat-dog bird. The literal translation of the Japanese title is Trico, the man-eating sea eagle, and it still has the elements guaranteed to have us emotionally decimated by the end credits. The desolate fantasy setting, the unlikely bond between two companions, the vulnerable innocence of youth. Best stock up on tissues and comfort ice cream. There's no way we're missing this, and there's no way we won't be in bits afterwards.
What Remains of Edith Finch is going to be amazing because, not in spite of the fact that I've already played it for half an hour and have literally no clue what it's about. In that half an hour, I explored a stacked house that looked like it was from a fairy tale, saw the names of children on the front of locked bedroom doors, then I became a cat, that became a bird, that became a shark. And then I stopped playing because I didn't want to see anything else until I had the game at home to explore properly. What I do know is that Edith Finch comes from Giant Sparrow, the studio behind the very smart Paint Puzzler The Unfinished Swan, and it shows us a series of surreal stories centred on a single cursed family in Washington state. It's about capturing that sense of how the world feels when you're a kid, incredible and intimidating, and showing us something completely unusual.
A long time in the future, in a galaxy right next to this one, there was a new Mass Effect game called Mass Effect Andromeda. It's a game about which we still know very little, other than you're playing as an entirely new character in a new galaxy. It looks utterly incredible, and it's coming to PS4 in 2016. Also, the Mako is back, proof that I and others like me were absolutely right when we said the Mako is a really cool and fun thing. So there. As always, you'll be able to choose between male and female versions of the protagonist and create your own legend amongst the stars. Although seeing as we're in Andromeda this time, there'll be no more probing Uranus. Sad times.
Having worked on every Killzone since, well, Killzone, imagine our surprise when Guerrilla Games walked out on stage at E3 2015 to announce a brand new franchise. I bet it's a shooter, we thought. Wrong, shouted Horizon Zero Dawn in one of the most unexpected and brilliant gameplay trailers we've ever seen. In fact, this brand new exclusive feather in PS4's cap is an action RPG set on an abandoned future Earth, populated almost entirely by robotic dinosaurs. I mean, robot dinosaurs. Do I need to say any more? The open world is as fascinating as it is beautiful, that is to say loads, and with comparisons to the likes of Skyrim, we couldn't be any more excited to find out what the hell is going on.
Well, this one's obvious, isn't it? It's Doom. Doom is about shotguns and moving sideways. Two things which id's frantic, furious and loud reboot unveiled at E3 2015 looks like it understands perfectly. The other thing new Doom clearly understands is that the genre-defining first-person shooter never really needed updating with extra shadows or scares, just remaking with prettier now-gen visuals. The whole point of Doom is that it's violent and fast and angry, a slick slide down corridors and down gangplanks, blasting the undead and the unclean with boomsticks from the shotgun up. So we're delighted to say that 2016's Doom doesn't look clever or emotional, it looks like fire and anger and cutting limbs off monsters with a chainsaw. It looks like Doom.
Good news for those of you who never played Gravity Rush on PS Vita, and for those who did, so really good news for everyone. Gravity Rush 2 is coming to PS4 in 2016 alongside a remastered PS4 version of the original handheld title. The swooping joy of juggling gravity like a supernatural circus performer is enhanced dramatically in the sequel, with Kat and her live, kick-happy companion able to send massive chunks of the environment crashing into enemies. An environment, we should add, that's colourful, characterful and every bit as pretty when viewed upside down. It's the combat and art style that shine brightest, the former a spectacular responsive system of kicking things in midair, the latter a gorgeous comic book inspired vision of a fantastical open-ended city playground. Welcome back, Kat. We can't wait.
Dishonored was one of the smartest new games on PS3, a superbly designed and conceived world that told a story of class and corruption, and a brilliant first-person stealth adventure that did real credit to the classic Thief. Through its flexible powers and combat system, Dishonored offered real player choice in approach and playstyle, with the added advantage that pretty much whichever way you played, it kicked ass. Dishonored 2 takes that rich design, the city now shifted from cobbled London-like streets to a balmy 19th century colonialism, and updates it, giving us more of Corvo, the masked assassin at the centre of the first game, and also the chance to play as Emily, the orphaned heir to the throne he saves, now a 25-year-old outlaw with her own powers. In other words, it looks like we're in fine hands, and that one of the best original games in years is also going to deliver one of the best sequels.
I've always said Mirror's Edge was one of the best games on PS3, and that people who didn't understand it were babies. And the best thing about EA's decision to bring back the stylish parkour dystopia in Mirror's Edge Catalyst is that it proves that I was right all along. Okay, that's the second best thing. The real best thing is that we all get to play a gorgeous, updated version of DICE's uniquely acrobatic first-person shooter. And actually the whole point is that it's not really a shooter at all. The magic of Mirror's Edge was that DICE, the studio that does guns better than almost anyone else, realised that running away from gunfights might be even more interesting than racking up the bodies like in every other shooter ever. Throw in the striking monochromatic colour scheme, glacial architecture and beautiful music, and Mirror's Edge is a world we can't wait to get back to.
When Final Fantasy XV releases in 2016, it will be a full decade since the game was announced as PS3 exclusive Final Fantasy Versus 13, a wait that's absolutely going to be worth it if the current crop of trailers and playable demo episode Duske are anything to go by. It's a given that Final Fantasy XV is going to be beautiful. The series has always pushed whatever hardware it's on to the absolute limit, but this is the first time Final Fantasy has gone full-scale open world, a huge departure from the most recent main series single-player installment Final Fantasy XIII. Also new is a battle system that channels the real-time swagger of Kingdom Hearts and layers in acrobatic specials, context-sensitive team attacks, and summon magic that makes all previous Eidolon incarnations look like they're made of glue and cardboard. We're back aboard the Final Fantasy XV hype train. Next stop, a definite release in 2016.
When the 18th of March rolls around, it brings with it the final chapter of one of gaming's best loved series. Surely the most anticipated game of the year for PlayStation aficionados, the intriguingly titled Uncharted 4: A Thief's End will take Nathan Drake on one last adventure. But to what end? This time accompanied by his long-lost brother Sam, Nate embarks on a globe-trotting treasure hunt that Naughty Dog have promised will test his very limits, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Lucky guy. With better-than-life graphics, seriously, look at it, newly announced dialogue options we can't begin to fathom, and the team that brought us The Last of Us at the helm, Nolan North's final outing in Nathan Drake's undies might be the biggest exclusive ever.
It's not until you're face to face with the cold, elegant corpse of a fallen dragon, ash falling away from its once fiery body and floating into the burnt skies above, that you realise how much Dark Souls 3 really gains from being on PS4. This being a Souls game, there's a live dragon too, perched on a castle wall and roaring fire into the walkway below. This is a trademark of series creator Hidetaka Miyazaki, who returns to Dark Souls 3 after hiatus from number 2, and whose touch can be seen in the buried lore about a world burnt to embers, and a story that continues the themes of light and fire that permeate the first Dark Souls. There are updates to gameplay too, new battle stances, new magic, but really, the reason we'll be playing Dark Souls 3 is that it's more Dark Souls.
Did you like Journey? What a stupid question, of course you did. And so of course you're going to like Abzu, which is sort of like Journey, only underwater instead of on the sand. It's a game of discovery, of beauty, of mysterious subterranean landscapes and massive whales. You won't find guns here, or fire, or footballs. Instead, Abzu is all about the simple, serene joy of diving underwater and peacefully interacting with aquatic creatures. There's even realistic shoaling behaviour and predators and prey and water.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. Actually, that's not true, just as far back as Gamescom last year when 2K made us an offer we couldn't refuse in the shape of Mafia 3. In a refreshing twist to a genre that's seen quite a lot of action over the years, gone are the speakeasies, Tommy guns and Stetsons, replaced by a vibrant, sweaty New Orleans during the swinging 60s and the Vietnam War. It's an era largely unexplored by games of burgeoning popular culture and political unrest, but give us an American classic with the top down, we'll be happy.
Do you remember the first season of Telltale's The Walking Dead? The one that won loads of awards and kickstarted years of other episodic story games? It was really good, and the creative minds behind it are now working on Firewatch, the first game from new studio Camposanto. Firewatch is like a combination of branching narrative storytelling, full of conversation trees and character interaction via a Bioshock-like walkie-talkie, and the interactivity of classic adventure games. You play as Henry, a sad, divorced man taking time out as a volunteer fire warden in a national park. We played the first few minutes at PSX, and even in that short time, the mixture of Henry's emotional vulnerability, the stark danger of the outside, this is the 1980s with no phones or internet, and the open world setting created a tension that was gripping even when we were performing menial tasks. Add in the fact that the world is beautiful, a stylised, glowing outdoors, as visualised by British artist Ollie Moss, and Firewatch is a place we're hungry to explore.
I never asked for... No, we did. We did ask for a Deus Ex sequel, and with Mankind Divided out on August the 23rd, 2016, we've got one. Set 2 years after Human Revolution, new Deus Ex takes the action to a very black and gold looking Prague and drops gravelly half-robot hero Adam Jensen into a boiling pot of terrorists, conspiracies, and really cool superpowers. He might moan about his augments, but really you can't argue with being able to turn into an Onyx exoskeleton and then tank your way through armies of helpless grunts. The choose your own path gameplay returns, which on a basic level means picking between stealth and not stealth, but going deeper means you'll be able to develop your very own gameplay style, although they all involve sunglasses and being a right old badass.
We have to be quick with this one because all that's been released so far is a tiny teaser, but do you remember how scary Outlast was? Dave definitely does. And next year, there will be more of it, more scares, more long dark corridors, more cutting off bits of ourselves so that the other bits of ourselves can survive, and we can't wait.
And finally, a big PlayStation-y 2016 welcome to the daddy of beat-em-ups. Yes, Street Fighter V is coming, and it looks better than ever, with a roster that includes all your favourite characters, a bunch of new moves to master, including V-skills, V-reversals, and V-triggers, and that familiar feeling of satisfyingly deep thumb cramp that only comes after ruling noobs in multiplayer. So get ready to spend hours and hours poring over move lists, practicing them for even more hours and hours in training, and then weeping into your DualShock as you're floored online by a Street Fighter master with the knee-jerk reflexes of a nuclear-powered cat. February the 16th. Hurry up. So there you go, 21 PS4 games you must play in 2016. Let us know which you're looking forward to in the comments, and if there are any you think we've missed. Like this video and we'll like you back in our minds. Download the PS4 Access app so you can watch it on your TV, and subscribe for the best PlayStation videos on the internet.